as red. She's got the spices, smile so bright. Cooking with Judith right by my side. By my side. Chop, chop, sizzle, frying pan heat. From pancakes to a fancy feast. Cooking with Judith, fun to say the least. The least.
Hello and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Judith, and today I'm going to do beef stew with dumplings, the way my mom used to. I know I've done stews on the channel before, like the South African with tomatoes, the English steak and kidney, several others. But today, it's a cold, dreary, wet day, and I really wanted my mom's beef stew with dumplings. So I've got some stew meat, this 1 pound of stewing beef, some russet potatoes, onions, celery, carrots, bay leaf. There aren't a lot of seasonings in this because I'm making it the way my mom did. And I will tell you the story about why my mom didn't use a lot of fresh herbs, other than not being available. So first thing to do is check our stewing beef and make sure it's uniform sizes. We want it pretty much like 1-inch square cubes. So let's get started. So heat your pot on low medium. You want a heavy bottom pot, fairly large. I'm using my Dutch oven. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of oil. My mom would have used vegetable oil or canola oil. And let that heat up. Let's give it a bit of a swirl to coat the bottom fully. And okay, now you want to do this in batches because we just want to brown the meat. We're not cooking it through at this point, but if you crowd it, it's going to start stewing and won't brown. Oops, let me cut that one through. So you'll probably have to do this in batches. So we'll let that go until we get nice and brown on one side, and then we'll turn it over and do the other side. So you can see the liquid. I don't know if you can see the liquid in there. Probably the wrong tilt to the pan. But that's why you don't want to overcrowd it, because that liquid will make your beef stew before it's browned. If you have too many pieces of beef in the pan, it's not going to brown properly. So we're going to pull these out. Now you may have noticed I did not flour my beef. For most stews, it's kind of known that you flour your meat, which helps thicken later. No, we don't flour. Now we need to get the pan back up to hot, and if you need to, you can add more oil. I think I might add just a little more. And give the pan a minute to get back up to hot. And all that in the bottom is going to add flavor. So don't worry about the pot being messy. Okay, the pot is hot again. Our beef is brown. And I know when I was younger, I tried conscientiously to brown every side of the beef. You don't need to. 2 sides is fine. We'll pour the rest of the beef back in with the juices. Now we're going to pour in hot water. My mom was never too concerned, I don't think, whether it was hot or cold water. But cold water is not going to do your beef any good. It'll seize it up. And we do want to bring this to a simmer, so we don't want to start at the beginning. And 1 bay leaf. So we're going to put that on, and as you can see, it's already simmering. So I'm going to turn the heat down just a touch and put the lid on. We're going to let this simmer for 2 to 2.5 hours. I know people that let their meat simmer basically all day. And unless you've got a really tough cut of beef, that's not needed. So it's been about 2 hours. And everything looks yummy in there. And look at how dark that liquid has gotten. So now we're going to add our vegetables. I have 2 large stalks of celery. A couple large carrots. And half a yellow onion. And the yellow onion is cut into wedges. To go with that, we have 2 medium russet potatoes. I did have them in water to keep them from going brown. We're just going to add the water as well, because we are going to need water in there. Okay, now we're going to add what little seasoning gets added beyond that bay leaf that we put in earlier, and I'll tell you why. Some salt. And some dried thyme. Now, my mom grew up in the Depression. She was born in 1923. And during the Depression, in Alberta, they were actually fairly well off, but no one had any money. And it was hard to feed a large family. And yes, they had a large family. So, Grandma used to send her children out to pick wild vegetables. I'm not sure what they picked. I know Mom told me at one point, but I can't remember. Mom called it pigweed. I looked up pigweed, and no, pigweed is poisonous to humans. You can feed it to cattle, but not to humans. There was another vegetable that was common, in fact, throughout North America, I think. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I think that might have been it. Mom just called it pigweed because she resented having to go pick this stuff and eat it. Whenever I sprinkled fresh herbs over her dinner, she would yell at me for throwing weeds at her food. Okay, we're going to bring this back up to a simmer. It's going to take a while unless I turn the heat up. And then we're going to cook till the vegetables are soft. Then we will thicken. Lid back on. Okay, well, it's been about 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes. And we're just going to check our vegetables. And yes, they're soft. So now we need to thicken our gravy. So I have about 1/4 cup of flour with equal amounts of water, just enough water to make it a loose slurry. And we're going to pour it in and stir. We'll start with a little bit and then add more as needed. Okay, I think we have maybe a little more. We do want a fairly thick gravy, not too thick, but we do want it not too thin. And that's looking good, and we're going to let that cook for a bit, lid off. So turn it down and just let that come to a bubble. And we'll give that a couple of minutes, and then we're going to add our dumplings. Need to turn that down fairly low. And give it a bit of a stir. So our dumplings are a mixture of flour, a pinch of salt, baking powder, and milk or water. I'm sure my mom used water quite often, and I have usually used water in the past. Depended on whether there was milk available. And we're just going to do spoonfuls onto the top. Not too big, otherwise your dumplings will be enormous. And you just want it to be a soft dough. You don't want it too thin, and you don't want it like bread dough-ish. There, that'll do. Okay. Then we put the lid on, and we're going to give it about 15 minutes. Do not lift the lid. Okay, patiently waiting 15 minutes. And it looks lovely. Look at how much those dumplings have expanded. Oh, there's a little one we can try. Lovely and fluffy. So it's dinner time. This is my mom's beef stew. Smells glorious, and I can't wait. And look at those potatoes are so soft, and you squish them into the gravy. Hot. And the stew beef. Hot. Melt in your mouth. That's so hot. Everything. It's just as I remember. You often forget what celery tastes like when you have it chopped up small in sauces or whatever. But when you do it in a stew in chunks, it's a very interesting flavor. I like it. Not everybody does, but yeah, it's a good flavor. And the dumplings, soaked in the gravy. Oh yeah. Oh, hot, so hot. So good. So simple, but so flavorful. And in the middle of winter, when you don't have access to fresh herbs, you can still make something lovely. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you liked the recipe. Please try it. It may be simple and not be overly seasoned, but sometimes that's what you want. It's a great comfort food, and I am going to eat this. Oh my God, I'm going to eat that whole pot. Not tonight, but yeah, I will eat it. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already. If you are already subscribed, consider hitting the join button. But whatever you do, I still appreciate you, and I'm glad and very thankful that you're watching my videos. I will see you again soon with a new video. Cheers.